Today's video is another debate segment from my new channel, Jonny Talks. On this one, we have yet another special guest, TheRealMindCrime. Personally, I think he's the best basketball reaction channel on YouTube. He knows the game and its history, and is always sharing some amazing insight on the NBA's past. If you haven't, please check out his channel. A link to it is in the pinned comment. We've got a couple more segments with him coming soon on the Jonny Talks channel, so make sure to subscribe over there as well. But on this one, we're debating our top 5 greatest teams in NBA history, in yet another argument between the old heads and the newborns. Please enjoy.
So we are looking at the top 5 greatest teams of all time. This is kind of like a wide net type of thing we're going to do here. I feel like there's a lot.
There'll be no controversy whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. Zero. I feel going through your criteria is extremely important before going through this, so you can kind of understand where my head's coming from. Number 1, and I think you guys are going to be surprised. Over championship.
You're going to start with 1? You got to go 5-2.
No. I'm saying my number 1 criteria. Let me finish. All right. Number one criteria is ball movement and team chemistry. Above championships, above everything else, I like a team that is a team. That's going to be a big portion of this.
All right.
Number 2 is playoff dominance, which has to do with these stats I got right here. Nobody in my top 5 has under a 10 net rating for the playoffs. Number 3 is strength of schedule, because it matters to me who you beat. Number 4 is the depth of your team. So I don't like it. You do get penalized if you are top heavy, right?
Sure.
And then last but not least is regular season dominance, because it's a team, and the regular season, even though it matters less now, mattered more at a previous time. So I think it should be factored into at least a small extent. So number 5, is ironically the team here at number 1 with the net rating, which is the 2001 LA Lakers.
Wow.
Okay. Did not have the best regular season. So like regular season dominance, not really, but playoff dominance. And like I said, with the net rating, they have the greatest net rating of any team that's ever won a championship. They turned it up in the playoffs. Dominated. Kobe and Shaq, though, and I probably would have put them higher, to be honest, because of their playoff record and stuff like that. But something that was important to me was, was depth. And when 2 guys score almost 60% of your team's average points per game, that penalized you a little bit. So, but number 5, Lakers. Number 4, the 2014 San Antonio Spurs. One of my favorite teams of all time.
Beautiful ball movement.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the reason why I wanted to go through my criteria is because if ball movement wasn't the number 1 criteria, maybe this team doesn't make the list, or they're like maybe in the top 10 instead of the top 5. But this, to me, is probably the best ball movement team of all time. Complete unselfless ball movement. I've said ball movement like 18 times now.
They had defense too, Russell.
Yeah, they were awesome. And depth as we go down here. Very deep. It wasn't about who was scoring, it was about the Spurs scoring. That is the most important thing.
Yeah, look at that spread, that point spread.
So six guys in double figures in the regular season. And then in the playoffs, it moves down a little bit, but we still have 4 guys over 14 points a game, which is actually like, you'd be surprised how little that happens.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the 2017 Golden State Warriors.
Wow. You, Mr. Modern Era, you picked the Warriors at 3.
Probably the most talented and most, probably the team that if we put them against all the other teams, I feel like the Golden State Warriors would probably win amongst all the other teams. But in terms of my criteria, I don't this team is deep, but the 2015 Warriors was deeper. Their first championship was much deeper. They sacrificed depth to get Kevin Durant, and I penalize them for that. And also their strength of schedule. This is not the 2018 season where they went against that Rockets team that took them 7. They smacked everybody in the playoffs, and it was because they were very, very good, but it was also because the people they were going against were not nearly as good as them.
I don't know. Well,
So you can talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
So, number 2 is the 1987 LA Lakers. This is a team that, like, I feel like just doesn't get talked about anymore. They had the MVP and they had the Defensive Player of the Year in Magic Johnson and Michael Cooper. They put how many guys in double figures here in the playoffs? In the playoffs, 6 guys in double figures in the playoffs. James were 2 guys over 20 points per game.
Big game James shooting 59% over there.
Oh yeah. The whole team. The whole team for the whole playoffs shoots 52%. 52%. Insane.
That's awesome.
Insane. As a team for your playoffs. Crazy.
And I'm telling you, like, when I talk about all those times of VHS tapes I watched of, like, I probably watched the 87 Lakers more than any team. That team, and you'll know this Mindcrime, they treated games like a track meet, dude. Like there's fast break basketball where, like, oh, we got the numbers, let's push the tempo. And then there's the 87 Lakers who grab the rebound and are like, let's just run because that's what we do. Like, they just took off every time. Sometimes it looks so forced, but it usually ended up with a bucket. Crazy.
In fact, the Steve Nash Suns, that's part of the reason why it was so exciting over here.
Yeah,
sure.
I've never seen anything since the 80s Lakers. Yeah, that Showtime was no freaking joke.
Scoring 120 points per game in the playoffs. So even without threes, they could compete in today's era in terms of points per game, which is insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And then number 1 for me is the 1986 Boston Celtics. They had everything.
Yeah.
Depth, ball movement, dominance in the playoffs and regular season. And this was crazy because when we're talking about depth, and I just brought up the thing about 15 points or 10 points per game for other teams. 5 guys above 15 points per game. 5. Cinco. Outrageous. And outside of that Spurs team, for me, this is probably the second greatest ball movement team of all time.
I don't mind loving on this team, but I just realized who's not in your top 5.
I know. This
Go ahead.
Oh my God.
No,
you have the 95, 96 Bulls in your top 5?
I go next.
I was waiting. I was staying quiet about it.
And just to let everybody know,
they're 8.
There's only one dynasty per one team per dynasty on my list. So
you try to stick to each organization. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So you're probably gonna get annoyed by this, Johnny, but 5th place for me is the 1991 Bulls. I was stuck.
91.
Yes.
They were 6 for me. I get it.
I told you these picks were going to be wild, crap. I told you.
I was stuck between, because I wanted to pick one Bulls team. And I feel like, it's not that I feel like, I know that first 3-peat Bulls era was better than that second one.
Debatable.
It was a
diluted
NBA in the second half of
I knew you were freaking. Go ahead.
And I'm just not going to – the 95-96 is cool, 72 wins, whatever. Didn't really beat competitive teams, in my opinion. I personally was stuck between the 91 and 92 Bulls because the 92 Bulls had the great regular season, but they had a really weird playoffs. I remember it like the offense was super stagnant throughout that playoffs. It was all weird. The 91 Bulls had that they went 15-2. They lost 1 game to Magic Johnson because Jordan couldn't guard him, just so everybody remembered. And then
it was the first
they lost another
game
in the finals, where it was like a last-second buzzer beater. Like they barely lost that game. Yeah. So they really only lost like solidly 1 game, in my opinion. So you still get Jordan at his apex. And plus, you get a hungry Bulls team.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the what happened throughout that Bulls era is like they kind of had that lack of hunger, and then there was times that just people had to piss Jordan off for him to go crazy in a series and then win. They didn't need that for 91. They were just like straight on want to win a championship.
They swept their rival Pistons like it was nothing. 100%. So they were.
And everybody acts like that Pistons team was so old when their best players were all between like 27 and 31. They were not
1 year older
you beat
than the
Pistons,
last year.
You beat the Lakers. Like those are 2 core dynasties, like ending or almost dynasties, whatever, that are ending that era. So that they're 5th for me. The 1987 Lakers are then fourth for me. And it's just and this is not because they're not great. It's just I feel like the other teams are a little better. But you get Magic Johnson. To me, this is like when Magic Johnson peaks as a player. You get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has to take a step back in the offense. Magic Johnson takes on the lead and just completely destroys the league. I think he averaged 24 points, 12 assists, something like that, something crazy. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going 0-1 Lakers. I go 0-1 Lakers because obviously we went 15 and I think we went 15-1.
15-1. Mm-hmm.
15-1 straight up dominance. Kobe Bryant and Shaq were just averaging 30. It was so difficult. Like when you think about like having to face these teams in series and then like just having the slow pace, and then you have to deal with Shaq getting automatic 2 points, or you have to foul the crap out of him. You get into foul trouble, and then Kobe just dominated on his end, destroying the Spurs, all that other stuff, whatever.
That team was legit not fair. It was legit not fair.
Exactly, just straight dominance. And I feel like your criteria is Russell. I probably used in my head like as I was like choosing these teams.
Yeah.
I would say definitely playoff dominance mattered more to me. I was probably the most.
Yeah.
Then we got the 1986 Celtics. I feel like that team, like Russell said, the ball movement, all super high IQ basketball players, Larry Bird, Bill Walton. Definitely, obviously, to me, they were the best team in the NBA had ever seen until 2017 when Kevin Durant went to the Golden State Warriors and they just straight up dominated the league. And it was big, and everybody knew they were going to dominate the league. And they just had the ball movement. They had freaking Kevin Durant, Curry, Klay Thompson shooting threes, lock up defense. When they went on those spurts, there were times that you literally in 4 minutes you'd go down 20 points from Golden State just because they locked down on defense. You missed a couple shots, and then you just had a ton of threes get sprayed at you. So that's my list. Very similar.
All right.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, good list. It's a good list.
All right. So a team that has not been mentioned yet, and that is the 71-72 Los Angeles Lakers. This team won 33 straight regular season games up to that point. They were the most successful regular season team in NBA history. And this team really had it all. On their roster, they had Wilt Chamberlain, who was one of the greatest outlet passers of all time, to go along with the fact that he was one of the greatest shot blockers and rim protectors all time. They had Bill Sharman as their head coach, who really wanted to run a transition up-tempo style. So they were kind of the Showtime Lakers before the Showtime Lakers. Wilt would get that block or get that rebound, outlet pass to either Gail Goodrich or Jerry West, and they're just getting buckets in transition constantly. Yeah. This team was scary, and this team was deep. Very, very quick. So I don't think this team gets enough respect. And they were due. Like everybody knew it was only a matter of time before this team won a championship. Like Wilt was still capable of averaging 30 a game, but Sharman spoke to him and said, I just want you to rebound and rim protect. Yeah. And Wilt's like, let's do it. Let's get a ring. And that's what they went out there and did. And
did he get the finals MVP on that?
Who was the finals MVP?
Or is that Jerry West?
I don't think Jerry. Let me see here. Who was the finals MVP on that one?
I got you. Let's see if I can get that.
Sorry, Johnny.
No, you're good. I just forget. It was Wilt. Yeah.
It was Wilt. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So finals MVP for Wilt, averaging 19, 23, and 3. And so, that's my my fifth team. My fourth team, 85-86 Boston Celtics. Like you said, best ball movement we've ever seen. The size of that team was incredible because you had Robert Parrish, all-star player, one of the probably most underrated players ever. He gets forgotten in this dynastic Celtics team. Then you had Kevin McHale. They called him the torture chamber because of how dominant he was in the post. They rumored that his wingspan was as big as 8 feet long, even though he was 6'10". I mean, just look at photos of him. He's got like a crazy body structure. Yeah. And then Larry Bird was 6'9", started his career as a power forward. These guys have size. Then you get to Danny Ainge, who's great at spreading the floor. He could pass, he could shoot threes. And Dennis Johnson, great perimeter defender. He could get buckets as well. 86 Celtics were incredible. To me, they were the prototype. I don't even know if that's disrespectful to refer it to that way, but they were the 2013-14 Spurs before the 2013-14 Spurs.
Yeah, 100%.
Number 3. 2000 to 2001 Los Angeles Lakers. I get the regular season wasn't as good, but the narrative going on and on throughout that season was the Lakers and their switch. They knew they had a switch, and they hit it right when they needed to. They turned it up. They went 15-1. And as far as you want to talk about like strength of schedule, strength of competition, like this team might have to be one.
Yeah.
Because the way they dominated teams that they were not supposed to dominate. They were not supposed to sweep the Sacramento Kings. They were not supposed to sweep in the Western Conference Finals a 61-win San Antonio Spurs team. That San Antonio Spurs team had the best record in the NBA. Lakers swept them, and the average margin of victory was like 20 points. It was ridiculous.
Jeez.
And, and what it took just for them to lose one game in that playoffs is Lakers to complacent. They take their foot off the gas a little bit, and Allen Iverson has an
prime Allen Iverson.
Yeah, exactly.
A hungry prime Allen Iverson.
Everybody thought that team was going to go undefeated heading into those NBA finals. That Lakers team was crazy. One of the narratives throughout that entire 2000 to 2001 season is who's going to be that third guy who's going to step up. Because I was Glenn Rice the previous year. Turns out they didn't need a third guy. It was just Shaq, Kobe, and a bunch of shooters around them, and that was more than enough.
By the way, before you do your last one, tell me, is that not the coolest part about Allen Iverson's career right there?
Oh, it absolutely
got that one win. Like,
and that's
he ruined the undefeated playoff run by the Lakers.
Absolutely.
There. Like, I think that's the coolest thing on.
He also ruined Shaq's unanimous MVP.
He did. You're right.
That's true. Shaq must hate Allen Iverson.
I know he low-key probably hates him.
Oh my God! Nothing more than Steve Nash, but still.
No, which I don't even understand what the hell he's talking about there. He was not the MVP that year.
Oh my God. That's a different conversation for a different time.
It is. That's for a different time.
Number 2, and some people might be surprised by this. I have by a hair the 2016 to 17 Golden State Warriors. You can't, on one hand, act like this team made the NBA boring, was unfair because they added an MVP caliber player to a 73-9 team at the exact position where they were extremely weak because Harrison Barnes was throwing up bricks throughout the 2016 NBA Finals, and a lot of people forget that. They replaced him with Kevin Durant after they just lost in the NBA Finals 83-79, where they weren't even completely healthy. And what proceeded to happen was a joke, was like the biggest stomping of an NBA season, both regular season and playoffs that we've seen. I personally think their composition was all right. It just looked like garbage because they were just that much better than everybody else. You couldn't defend them. You had 2 of the top 5 greatest shooters in NBA history on the perimeter, and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And then the other guy on the perimeter was Kevin Durant. I remember watching the first game of that 2016 to 2017 regular season and being like, this is ridiculous. There is guys wide open on the perimeter that are in like the top 20 greatest players of all time. This shouldn't be happening.
Sure.
But that's how stacked they were. So that team's number 2. Number 1, greatest regular season team ever to end up winning a championship, 95-96 Bulls.
Yep.
I think the separating factor for the Bulls, beyond the fact you have Jordan, beyond the fact you have Pippen and Rodman and an array of shooters and, the greatest coach in NBA history, in my opinion, is their defense. 3 of their starters were first team all defense. That is the most terrifying perimeter defense of all time. And honestly, to go up against my second pick, the Golden State Warriors, for that reason, I feel like they're the best suited to do that. Because even Ron Harper, their starting point guard, was a pretty damn good defensive point guard as well.
Absolutely.
He just didn't make first team all defense like the other guys did. And that was a large starting 5, huge starting 5 there. 95-96 Bulls. And if it's close at the end, you've got Michael Jordan. So, I mean, what else?
The ultimate closer.
It just wouldn't be close at the end.
So, we're setting up the last one now, which is TheRealMindCrime. If you're not familiar with his channel, he reacts to my videos all the time, so there's that. So you can check him out there.
Good ones, Johnny.
He's fair enough.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, he's probably upset because I just put up a LeBron glazing video fairly recently. Right. He's like, I ain't touching that one.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You do have people asking me to watch it, but I'm like, I don't know if I
But it's good to have you on, man. You are my favorite channel when it comes to reactionary content because you do it right. You don't just watch the video. You watch it and then give amazing insight that I hadn't even thought of. And you do that every video. So Anyway, that's his channel. Go check it out. Link will be in the pinned comment in the video's description. But yeah, what's your 5 teams, bro?
All right. Well, thank you for the intro, Johnny. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Man, I feel we all have a lot of similarities here. So I'm gonna go down the list, but I'm also gonna I've got 2 wild cards that I just put in here just to kind of contrast with you guys. So I'm gonna go number 5. 1992 Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for the reasons what you were talking about with the defense of the 96 Bulls, if you go back and watch some 92 Bulls, I don't know if I've ever seen a hungrier defense on any team in NBA history, honestly.
Yeah.
But they were kind of up and down that season, and they did have kind of a weird playoffs, so I can't put them any higher than that. But as far as I've just never seen such swarming defense, especially for a defending champion.
Yeah.
You'd think they let off the brakes after that hunger that they had in the 91 finals, and they finally got over the hump. No, in my opinion, they came back even hungrier, and I've never seen anything quite like that. Jordan was peak Jordan. Pippen, I would argue, was even better than he was in 91.
Oh yeah.
They had their harmony. Their role players knew what they were doing. BJ was stepping up. Paxson was slowing down a little bit. Horace, that might have been my favorite. Horace Grant was in 92 as well, 92 and 93. So I just feel like it all came together at this point, and they had the one thing they didn't have in 91, which was true confidence. They knew they can do this. Did I think they were going to do it and then do it again and get a three-peat? No, I don't think anybody did, but that team was just fierce on defense. So that's the reason I'm going to give it there. For number 4, I've got a tie here, guys, but all right. I've got to get the 2016 Warriors in there, but I don't want to leave out the 2004 Pistons as a wild card.
Dude, I looked at them for a very long time. I looked at the Pistons.
I know, and this isn't based on any stats or anything like that. This is just respect.
Yeah,
because what they were able to pull off without a superstar, there was the best team basketball I had seen up until that point, except for maybe one other one that's on this list. But the ball sharing, the team defense, the uniting under a coach, like old school, really just buying into a vision. Nobody was selfish, You had your enforcer in Rashid. You had your defensive superstar in Ben Wallace. Yep. You had your clutch player in Chauncey, and you had your mid range psychopath in
Rip Hamilton.
Rip, yeah. Rip just running around doing his best Reggie Miller impression. It was it was beautiful basketball. But honestly, if I had to do it, it's the 2016 Warriors. They would be
now. Are
higher.
You saying 16, the team that lost, or 16-17, the team that won?
The 73-9 team?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I'm going with the 73-9 team mainly because the narrative. Okay, everybody wants to say this is the best team of all time. I'd say they were about the 4th because the only reason is they didn't finish the job. Okay, right. Now if they finished this job, they'd probably be on everyone's number 1.
Sure,
But there's only one thing that they were lacking there. They didn't finish the job. I know everyone is going with the KD thing, but this season, guys, they weren't supposed to lose.
Yeah.
In hindsight, if we look back, I think we could all admit, they were not supposed to lose. The fact
do you have an excuse for him though? Because I'm I could guarantee that you're not going to have the 2016 Cavaliers ahead of them. So how are you going to say that they're the 4th greatest when you don't even have the Cavaliers ahead of them on your list? How would you explain that one?
It's almost just momentum. I can't really explain it in stats, but just the momentum they had going into the playoffs, the fear that they had, the advantage. It's a psychological advantage they had over the entire league. So as much as I crap on LeBron, I'm still amazed that I feel like the Warriors kind of fell apart when it mattered the most.
It was a combination of things for sure.
It was a perfect storm.
LeBron was killing it. Kyrie was killing it.
Well, I got your back. Don't worry. The NBA also made that happen. Let's not act they didn't go and suspend Draymond Green in game 5, then give them momentum. They go to game 6 at home. Obviously, they're gonna go off, and then you just did a toss-up game for game 7. Whatever. I got your back. Don't worry, man.
Yeah. You noticed
I know you want to say that.
In the playoffs a couple days ago, Draymond kicked somebody else like right in the, you know where
The Crockville
He should
region.
have got suspended for that one.
but he didn't get suspended.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there
Good
is
point.
an obvious difference. And that was in the NBA Finals in a crucial time. So, Dario, I don't normally get into like the conspiracy theories, but I mean, we kind of just laid something out there, didn't we?
When you hang out with Dario, that's what
Theory
happens.
D.
Yeah, they do.
All right,
they
but that's
do.
the wild card. I never know where to put where to put any of these Warriors teams. Honestly, It's really hard for me. And also, like, I have a negative connotation with it because of the impact that they had on the NBA moving forward. But it's also not their fault. They did this. It was original. It was unique. We've never seen anything like it. And it's not their fault that everyone is trying to copycat them. So, now I'm going to go also with it's been brought up many times, the 0-1 Lakers. We don't need to get into it. This was pure dominance with a brilliant head coach. And it was just like the kettle was just boiling, and it was going to boil until 2004 until it burst. But until it burst, like it was just drama. It was drama, but it was also just on the court was just explosion. I've never seen a 1-2 punch that powerful ever. And I don't know if I'll ever, when Dame signed on with the Bucks, I started having visions. Like, are we going to get it? You know, are we going to get something that reminds us of like Kobe and Shaq? It just didn't quite happen, but I've never seen it like a 1-2 punch, a guard, a center like that come together and just dominate the way they did. Like it was said earlier, Shaq would take care of the first 3 quarters. Then when it came to the fourth and, his 54% or whatever it is free throw shooting, time for Kobe to take over. You just
Russell, click on that Sacramento series, because sometimes it wasn't even quarters. They'd alternate games.
Yeah, they would.
That were like, Shaq would score 44. Now it's Kobe's turn, 36, 48. Like, that's just crazy. One guy's like, I got you, big fella. It's my turn now. Like, that's nuts, man.
God, just look
Kobe said, I'll take the show on the road.
Look at Shaq's rebounds, guys.
Yeah.
44-21.
Average 17 for the series.
Yeah.
Damn. Poor Kings, man. I was a Kings fan too at that point. Like, just
oh my God, you poor guy. Jeez.
It's not like I'm from Sacramento, but I was born a Laker hater. Like I'm from Arizona.
Yeah.
Like us Suns fans, like we hate the Lakers. Like, it is what it is. It's nothing personal. I've loved a lot of members of the Lakers individually, but I hate the team. It's just
I love my team, but there's a lot to hate about us. It's fair.
you're like the NBA's Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Or the Yankees,
Or the Yankees.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, but we've talked a lot about the 0-1 Lakers, so I'm going to move on to and this one too. That's why I had to throw a couple of wild cards. The 86 Celtics.
Yeah.
Did any of us miss the 86 Celtics?
No.
Everybody.
No.
Yeah.
For good reason.
It's like you all said, and it's the most similar thing is like the 04 Pistons, which is just like, this is an ultimate team, but you have a clear. I got to have them higher because they have a clear leader. They have a clear basketball god out there in Larry Bird, and everybody is rallying behind him no matter what happens. And he's willing to go out there and break his back and do whatever the hell it takes in order to win, to rally his troops behind him. And, a pre-injury Larry Bird, man, people just don't remember. And I don't know about you guys, but like it's been one of the saddest things is like how little respect like Magic and Bird get.
Sure.
So teams like this should not get forgotten. And the 86 Celtics should not be only remembered as, oh, that's the time Jordan got swept. I'm sick of that argument because like, no, this was one of the greatest teams of all time. Shouldn't we be talking about how the greatness of this team, that they were actually able to sweep second year Michael Jordan when he's averaging like 45 points on you guys?
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up when I brought up the 86 Celtics. I was like, they completely ate Jordan 63.
And one thing that's worth
mentioning, he just absorbed it and said, keep going, buddy.
Yeah,
good luck.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And one thing that's worth mentioning here that we haven't talked about, I mean, Bill Walton was, I believe, the 6th man of the year this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He was a monster. He's only playing 18 minutes a game, but he's scoring 8 points in that time and is a solid rim protector. If he's on 16 or 17, I would say probably 15 or 16 other teams within the league at that time, there's like 20-ish around, he's starting on those teams.
Yeah.
But because he's backing up Robert Parrish, like that was just a constant rotation of terrifying rim protection on this team.
The only thing I don't remember about 86 was this was already bad knee Bill Walton, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just short sprints of like great basketball. But I mean, and you remember this too. Like Walton was one of the greatest passing bigs ever.
Oh,
you know, top 5 probably.
Before Jokic, they talked about Bill Walton a lot in terms of GOAT big man passer in that regard.
Shoot, what about Sabonis? Like OG Sabonis?
Yeah,
it didn't last long, and I heard he was drunk the whole time. But my God, that guy could pass, dude.
Yeah,
dude, maybe the double vision gave him some sick passing wizardry. You don't know.
That's true.
So now you're on your number 1, and we have no idea what's going to be whatsoever.
Guys, like I tried to get around it, but I can't get it. How do you get around it? It's the 96 Bulls. It is because they got it done. Here's the thing. It's not because of the individual players. I think there are teams on our list that have more talented players as a whole. But it's just the trio of Jordan, Pippen, and Phil Jackson coming together in my mind. Yes, I'm not discrediting anybody else, but that trio is what really was the heart that drove that revenge season. Because it wasn't just about winning. It was about getting payback, because the narrative had shifted so much on Jordan and the Bulls. If you remember Jordan's comeback, once they got eliminated by in 95, once they got eliminated by the Orlando Magic, the narrative was like, it's over. This ain't the same Jordan. 45 ain't 23. He doesn't have it anymore, and it was just pure revenge. And we haven't seen that since 1991 with Jordan, and unfortunately we never got to see that again because that was the most pissed off, that, chip on the shoulder Jordan that we ever got to see again was like, I'm going to prove all you haters wrong, just like he did the first time to start the first three-peat. But how do you go against it, man? They did it all the way to the end. They won the championship in 6, and it wasn't the same Jordan we were used to in the first three-peat, but it became like a beautiful Jordan to watch because he could still leap, but he wasn't relying on it. And he had already talked to Phil and said, I don't want to score 45, 50 points, in any games. I don't want to have to do that anymore. I want this team to come together. And they really did. All he had to do was put up his 30-something a game, and it was easy money. And I'd see Jordan Pippen and Ron Harper on the bench almost the entire fourth quarter of every single game in the regular season. It was brilliant. It was just the happy, awesome, dominant season to watch. But I just got to go there because they won. Yeah. Like I said, if they would have lost in the finals and the Warriors would have won in the finals, then I would flip flop this any day of the week.
And I gotta clap back to just kind of explain a little bit of context for Dario's take real quick. Like you hear that watered down era a little bit, and to a certain very minute extent, of course that's true because you have like a couple like expansion teams there. The problem is since like 1988, you had 4 expansion teams, just 4. And by that point, 2 of them were playoff teams. Yeah. So basically at that point, you're talking about a watered down league because the Toronto Raptors and then Vancouver Grizzlies exist, who didn't even go to the playoffs. And the Bulls were something crazy. They were something like 67-9 against all other teams that weren't expansion teams. So, I mean, they still dominated the NBA without those expansion teams. But just look at who they faced in the playoffs. Like, I talk about it all the time. That Magic team was Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway. Like, that team was incredible. It had so much.
One of my favorite teams ever. The year before is one of my favorite teams of all time.
That is not a team that's supposed to get swept in the playoffs.
Definitely.
Like, the
same argument we made about the 86 Celtics doing what they did to the Bulls. Like, we can make that same argument with the 96 Bulls, what they did to that Magic team. Even worse, honestly, because that was a title contender.
Yeah, and then even with the Sonics,
that Magic team had a ton of things going on internally that was throwing stuff off. Like, I think doesn't the very next year Shaq get leave
that?
Yeah.
Shaq and Penny has
he elbows little Penny off the couch in the commercial.
Yep. But Dario, to be fair,
that was not the same team.
We just spent a whole 10 minutes glazing a Lakers team that had an equal amount of drama going on, and they were dominating the entire.
That's true. That's true.
Sure, but when you're talking about like, it's all I'm saying is out of all the teams that we listed, by far the 96 Bulls had the weakest competition in the regular season and in the playoffs, and that's to me that's not really that debatable. And if you
over the 16-17 Warriors,
there are 7 teams, so that's like what a fourth of the league who have less than 30 wins. Like, this is the league that we're talking about right now.
But every time a team wins or loses, another one has to win. So you could just argue as top that. Well, the Sonics were 64 a win team. That's who they faced.
Let's pay attention. The Sonics,
throw it up, Joe. Throw it up.
Yeah, the Sonics and the Utah Jazz, both teams who were middle of the pack throughout all of the 90s. Suddenly, this expansion happens, and they're top teams in the West. Yeah. And why is that? Because they're going against trash, and they're like,
no.
Okay, but Dario, look at the screen
in this not so good league, and now you got a Sonics team who has 64 wins, who barely broke 50 throughout the most of the 90s.
You have to remember that this was an era where the pace of play was at a snail's pace. Mm-hmm. So there was like a 3-year stretch where the best players in the NBA Finals are like 33 to 35, like the best player, second best player, third best player. It's just because it was just totally, well, kind of. It's just different. My point is, if you played a slower era, different guys could excel. Like, how would LeBron do in a very, very slow, methodical era? He'd be even better. It doesn't necessarily make the era weaker. It just allows certain guys to excel better at what they do best. Yeah. And so but like the Sonics, for example, Gary Payton experienced his first year as a defensive player of the year.
Sure.
Sean Kemp had reached his best. They had Detlef Schrempf. They have Hersey Hawkins. They had a bunch of great guys that Dario doesn't even know exist. You know, It was a culmination all at the right time, getting better. And
Dario, who is the coach
I think
of the
this is a transition period.
Who's the coach of the Supersonics, Dario?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're about to get exposed.
Who's the coach of the Supersonics for that team?
Oh, that's isn't it George Karl?
Yeah. Hey, you got it!
Ding, ding, ding.
How about the Jazz? How about the Jazz? How about the Jazz? How about the Jazz?
W in comments.
You got to know the Jazz. You got to know the Jazz.
Oh, it's the guy.
You got this. I believe in you.
No, I do know his name.
He's low key one of the greatest coaches of all.
No,
time.
I know. I honestly, he's really.
Except in the finals when he coaches like a complete idiot. But okay, continue. Don't even get me started with that.
I can't remember his name.
He was a drunk.
I swear to God, I know who that is.
He was against MJ Russell. He was against MJ.
I don't care, bro. Go to the footage. They ran the same play every time. They ran the same play. There were no adjustments. Zero. Yeah. He was the Mike Budenholzer of that era. Zero adjustments.
Okay, but guess what, Russell? So did the Bulls, and they won.
That's further my point.
The Bulls made adjustments.
They ran the triangle every play of every season.
They're eighth. You have them on eighth on your list, Russell.
Here you go. You ready? You ready? Here we go. 91 Bulls are sixth. The 2016 Cavs are seventh.
And get the freak out! God,
you're tweaking.
You're just
definitely not 2016.
Now you're the troll. What are we doing?
2016 Cavs, 10th in net rating, one of the best offensive ratings in the history of the playoffs, and strength of schedule was amazing as we were.
For the 2017 Cavs, what Cavs team?
The one that won the chip.
2016.
Yes.
Yeah.
Strength of schedule.
They beat the best team that Mr. Mindcrime was just talking about. What are you talking about?
You're talking about like the fearsome Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan that they got through. What are you talking about?
Listen, I didn't say they were in my top 5. I said they were 7th. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And the 96 Bulls, to everything Dario said, this is a diluted league. This is undeniably a diluted league.
They swept a 60-win team.
I get it.
You're not good though. That you could be 60 wins, but if 15 of those wins are against pure dog,
But
they weren't. You're making up numbers. You're making up numbers because the lottery teams that they went up against, they only played them 4 times that year.
No, I'm saying
3-1.
I'm saying that they're what their record is saying is not truly the level of team that they were.
I agree.
And
I think the Magic team from the year before
64-win Sonics team is not the same as like the 64-win Spurs of 2014. Those are two different teams.
If you can't recognize if you can't recognize a team's greatness when they're sweeping Shaq and Penny Hardaway at the Orlando best, you're just trying. You're just
Well,
trying.
hear me out. No, hear me out.
Young,
No,
no injured
we're
too.
talking-
Like this was
if
the
we're
healthiest
talking the
version of those guys.
If we're talking the greatest defensive teams of all time, 95-96 Bulls number one for me.
Well, that's my big reason. It's not the 72 and 10.
number
It's
two.
their defense.
Yeah,
That for me, that's the thing.
Yeah, but they're not even in the top 10 of net rating for greatest champions of all. Like the 01 Lakers, by the numbers, had a better defense in the playoffs than the 96 Bulls.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
here's
the eye
when
test.
you start getting into numbers and comparing it to like the late 90s, like 1999 was the lowest scoring NBA season since the NBA merger, which has to do with a lot of things. And the NBA wanted to make a change, so they started doing Adam Silver things before Adam Silver. It just got too slow. It just got too slow. And you have said yourself, nothing dictates stats more than pace of play. Go watch those finals, and you freaking newborns are going to be bored because it's so slow.
Offensive and defensive rating. That the pace doesn't affect the offensive and defensive rating stats. Those are just what they are, and like,
they're not in that category. Era, though. That 01 team is still in that same level of
no, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because if you go look at how the numbers change, totally different.
It's
already changed. Similar.
The already turtle pace turned into kind of a slog pace by 2001.
Plus, you could argue more physicality from 96
I think it was slower when Shaq.
But again, that also worked for the teams of that time. Like Shaq, in a time where there isn't as many 3-pointers, where everybody's focusing on around the painted area, like it works to their advantage. So to a certain extent, you play within the era you play. And that's what I don't always like about the strength of competition. I do believe like the Bulls are going to whoop up on most of the teams we talked about. It's not their fault they didn't play. Like, you can only beat who's in front of you. Yeah, so although that's a factor, it can't be the end-all be-all because it's not their fault.
But to your point, it's a factor. It's not my number one criteria, but it is a factor. It matters who you beat. Like, it does. I'm sorry. That's what makes you great. What forges greatness is adversity. And if you don't have any adversity, that matters to me.
But in reality,
I'm about to put that on my refrigerator.
In reality, Tiger Woods isn't a worse golfer when he won the U.S. Open by like 16 strokes because no one could keep up. Like in reality, Tiger Woods is not a worse golfer because no one was good enough to compete with him.
Yeah, but Tiger Woods isn't bashing golf clubs against somebody next to him. That's not how this works. He's playing with himself. No pun. Sorry, pause. But he's playing with himself. Like they literally people going against each other. Like. There are people there in basketball. It's two teams going against each other. The reason why the 86 Celtics and the 87 Lakers are so high on my list is because they played each other. Like that matters. That matters that they played each other.
The 87 Lakers, like to me, they had the hardest. Like
to be fair, though,
win a championship.
To be fair, a lot of the teams that are considered the greatest teams ever to not win a championship are the teams Jordan beat. And in this era included. And so when you're looking at the playoffs, like they had that Miami Heat team, I'll give you that one. That Knicks team, tough. Beat them 4-1. Magic team, tough.
Yes.
Beat them 4-0. Seattle Supersonics, tough. They got up 3-0, took their foot off the gas, beat them in 6. Like, those are good teams, dude.
Yeah, they're good for the era, like you said. I just think in terms of strength of schedule, I think there are other teams that had a much harder strength of schedule, and that's where I'm at.
You're telling me that the 01 Lakers did not have a tougher battle to win their they literally they faced the Spurs.
Yeah,
they faced the Spurs.
No. There's multiple factors.
Look like trash.
There's multiple factors. You won that factor, but you didn't win them all. Like, no. You get that factor. The Lakers were also 22nd in defensive rating throughout the regular season.
That's the regular season. I'm talking about the
playoffs. Is that a factor? Like, we talked about this.
It's the last factor. It's the bottom factor.
It's the
well, when you're 22nd, it counts for quite a bit.
I'm sorry.
But when
they
you
were
go
the
to
bottom third of the
time,
league.
When you put a top 10 all time in the playoffs, you're good.
Is always the lesser factor. And when we're talking about basketball, that's normally what it comes down to. Because even in like current day basketball, we talk about the regular season all we want, and then once playoffs comes, we care about those playoff guys, those superstars who play great in the playoffs. Like, to me, a regular season is cool. Like, the Lakers didn't do that great, but when they came to the playoffs and you're facing the best of the best, they were whooping them.
I know, but you can't put that above a team that did both. You know, they dominated in the regular season. They dominated in the playoffs. They got it done and just drove away into the freaking sunset.